I want to introduce you to Jamie and Jacklyn Purvis. This is a unique opportunity with a daddy-daughter duo. So I am excited to have them on. So welcome, Jamie and Jacklyn.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate the
having us.
opportunity.
We're excited to be here.
Good. So tell us a little bit about your backgrounds. We'll start with Jamie and then go to Jacklyn.
Sure. I came out of the real estate space, started selling real estate when I was 22 years old and became very successful, developed a real estate team, and then transitioned into leadership. We opened up a couple offices in the Toronto area in Canada and did that for about 9 years, almost 10 years. And we grew the number one office in the country. And I was loving what I was doing until I wasn't. Kelly, I don't know if you've ever experienced that, right? I always say I lost the loving feeling. One day it was just, you know what? It's happened a few times in my life, and every time it's happened, I've had to follow my intuition, and I knew it was time to move on and away and out of that position. And I ended up leaving the industry I was in, sold my shares in the company, and took some time off to get clarity, and decided at that point I knew I was going to get into coaching. And Jacklyn and I formed this support network in the beginning. She was supporting me in what I was doing, and then realized, I said to my wife, my God, I have to talk to Jacklyn. There's a talented young woman in front of me. And I think at that moment in time is when I shifted my thinking and stopped looking at her as my daughter, seeing that all the time. And I saw really who was in front of me. And we decided to launch the Be Do Have movement. And we model this process by example and leading a life of becoming clear on what you want and living your biggest and best life.
I love that. That's so awesome. Jacklyn, tell us a little bit about you.
I have a similar experience in terms of just hitting that wall of like, I don't know if I like doing what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people sort of run into that. I come from corporate advertising. So I went to school for marketing, ended up at an agency. It was okay. I liked it enough to stick it out a few years. And it got to a point I had taken a role at another agency, and my body was like in pure reaction. I was getting full on anxiety and hives. And from not listening to my body, I was getting that external, basically, feedback. So from that point, I had a pretty kind of like dramatic leave from that, and was just like, this isn't for me. And like, life isn't supposed to be based like this. It shouldn't be, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
And I went into the freelance space from there. Jamie was my coach for a little bit. So I went through that experience on my own, just went down the rabbit hole of self-development. And a lot of the tools, I went into the NLP space and mental emotional release, and all of those certifications at first were just for myself so that I could get that understanding and figure out what the next step was for me. And then I was like, oh my goodness, like more people need to know these solutions, because it doesn't have to be like that. Like your career shouldn't feel that way.
Yeah.
So we both have gone through experiences of, this isn't fulfilling anymore. Like, what can we do about it next?
Awesome. So how did, Jamie, you mentioned about seeing your daughter in a different way, seeing her talents and really so how did this come about more, like of you two teaming together with this?
So a big change in my eyes, again, would be that Jamie was coaching me. So I had invested in one of the programs at the time that we were running, and going through that, I saw him in a different light, and it helped me explore too, like, what do I actually want? What does that next step look like? Like, what can I change within myself to get there? So that really was the pivotal, I think, moment at the beginning. I'm curious Jamie's thoughts on that.
Shelley, I let her answer first. I'm always interested on her perspective of the reality of what I saw. For me, it was literally, he was bringing a new perspective. Obviously, being my daughter, I'm always, as any parent, right, proud of your kids. Yet I saw what she was doing and how she was evolving and how she had this passion to help others. And that's how my whole life, I like I mentioned, I was in real estate, but I never considered myself a real estate agent. I was helping people fulfill a dream and transition that into what we're doing now. And I literally talked to Jacklyn one day and asked her if she'd be open to an opportunity. And she said she would actually thinking of it at the same time.
Awesome.
So it was a meeting of the minds, and we just made a decision that, you know what, we're better to do this together. I learned very early on in life, leave your ego at the door And when I was running the real estate company, we had a lot of younger people in that company, and I was so inspired by being around younger people, fresh thinking. And so for me to be doing this with Jacklyn, as it turns out, has been the best part of this journey for me. I
Awesome.
never saw it coming, and it's just exploded my life and my lessons to a whole different level. And just being able to partner with her in this, and on all of our calls together, whenever we're coaching, it's Jamie and Jacklyn. It's never dad. She never calls me dad. Some of our clients noticed that in the beginning, so they were like, well, "That's odd." But it's a partnership. It's a partnership, and we butt heads, and you know what? She has no problem calling me out, and I'm open enough to, like in every relationship, right? You take a breath, and if you hear what's being said, it helps you look at things from a different set of eyes.
And it seems like that partnership has also helped you in your continual growth, also in just working together. And also, how has it influenced your relationship outside of the work?
When you first said that question, I think what came to mind was the idea that your business grows to the extent you do, right? So we're in the personal development space. So I think I love what I do. So I'm curious Jamie's answer on this too. So I think we do talk a lot about work, but it's really easy. If you're in a personal setting, it's just different. You wear a different hat at that stage. It also helps, I believe, that we live in different countries currently. So when we are in person, it is easy to be like, let's just enjoy the moment. And a lot of our calls are over the phone. So I think that's how we sort of manage that boundary there.
Okay.
Yeah, during COVID, it was different because Jacklyn had come back to Canada during COVID. So it was just business for about a year and a half. So separating and getting a life outside of that, I think, was very healthy for everybody. We like all businesses, right? We have scheduled meetings every week. So we have our business meetings throughout the week. We'll jump on quick calls. We have programs that we coach together. So we have that business connection. And then at the same time, I can be talking to Jacklyn through the day. And then, we're talking to her at night, family. So my wife and I'll be talking to her, and it flows. I just find it really easy, and it flows.
Awesome. That's so cool. I love it because I had a good relationship with my dad. He's now passed on, but just seeing you two work together, I love this connection you have in so many different ways. It's so good. So tell us a little more about the Be Do Have movement.
So the Be Do Have movement, we've been running for about 4 years. We've helped over 1,000 people, and it really is transitioning their life and helping them grow. A lot of our clients are coming for business and for a certain result, certain outcome, and it's so much deeper than that. So we really get this pleasure of seeing people just grow in their identity, shift their behavior, shift their mindset. And not only are you leaving by the end of it with achievement of that goal, but you're seeing people change. And like, if I could wrap that up and give that to somebody, it's the best feeling on the entire planet. So we really started at the beginning just with one-on-one coaching. We now have a membership, and I do life coaching, and Jamie specializes in the business coaching realm.
Okay.
And we focus on thinking different, transforming your thinking, transform your life, we like to say. So helping people understand that if we start to think and live and use our imagination, start to imagine what it would be like with the goal achieved already, and living in that space of being present, becoming that person today, it helps you change your habits. It helps you change your perspective. So then we can do things different than we've always done in the past. Because a lot of times, we do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. We've all heard that. Yet we start with intention of we want to achieve this goal, and we don't even notice that our thinking is driving what we do and what we think is possible. So if we could slow it down and help people think different and reframe what they think is even possible and start to imagine that, be it, live it, and come from that space, your goals are actually brought to you. You don't have to chase them. For years, I chased my goals, but the minute I started to think different and just started to be the person I've already run and owning this company that's very, very successful, what do I have to do? What do I have to think? That changed my life. So now we just transferred that into this Be Do Have movement philosophy.
So can you give us an example of that, of someone that, how they can really be themselves, like find their true power and passion to be able to move forward and not chase a goal, but have it come to them?
I'll let you add on, Jamie. So a big piece of what we talk about And again, that's the be do have method, what Jamie was just sharing there. So we want to refrain from just getting in that hustle culture of, that hamster wheel of, okay, go, 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 go. You have to do this. And then you get to this next level. And we look at, okay, what is the end goal? Like, that is important. Where do you want to grow next? What is that direction? And then it's the physical, mental, and emotional, spiritual piece of that, because that's our being piece.
Mm-hmm.
So when we work on those avenues, that's going to help us shift our behavior that much faster, so that we are taking long-lasting actions and creating long-lasting change from that point.
Okay.
What I like to do, Shelley, is no matter who I'm talking to, the first thing we do is we spend a lot of time with clarity, getting clear on imagining what is the life that you want to live a year from now, 3 years from now. I tend not to go more than 3 years from now, because it's hard to imagine bigger life than the way we think today.
Okay.
So 3 years from now will give me and help people understand what's the biggest life that's possible. And I help them get clear on that biggest life that's possible for them based on who they are today. And then we start stretching it. I start helping them imagine, if you could take your 3-year vision and turn that into a 1-year, what would that look like? How would that feel? And starting them to imagine and feel what it's going to be like to be earning the money that they want to make, to be able to travel, to be able to spend the time with friends, family. Time or money tends to be the two things, especially for business entrepreneurs and salespeople. That's the biggest challenge: time and money. Keep showing up over and over. So if we could change that thinking, if you had more time, changing foundationally the scarcity mindset to an abundant mindset, that helps everybody start to pause, and is very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable because it's not something that we do or have done. If we did, we'd already have the results we want, right? So we help people get really clear on the vision of what they want at a deep core emotional level. And taking the space and creating space for that is something that I know I didn't do for a long time. I chased goals my whole life. And I grinded through and became like, nobody would outwork me. I grew up with that hustle mindset, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's literally exhausting, and it doesn't have to be that way.
So what does that look like for somebody to, is that through journaling that they start, like, to really get clear on what their goals are or what they want, I guess, not even goals, but is that somewhere that people start, or how would someone start getting that clarity?
Starts with spending time every day. Like I call it thinking time, imagination time. So get clear on what it is you want to be doing every single day. Bookmark the day. So start the day with your positive intentions. What is it that you want? Imagining the goals, ending the day, celebrating your wins, reviewing your lessons, and in gratitude. So when we can bookmark the day with those things, and then start to do new actions based on the thinking that I've already achieved this. So what would I be doing? How many appointments do I have to be doing if you're in business? Getting clear on some action steps. And in that process, we find we always have to help people reframe and change their belief systems. Right. So in my opinion, it boils down to 3 things. Number 1, decide on what you want. Number 2, you have to have a deep-rooted belief that it's possible and you're going to have it. And then number 3, expect it. You live life with those 3 things, you will have every goal that you can imagine. The belief, though, if you don't have a strong belief, and we let the bank account stop us, we let the economy stop us, we let somebody's negative comment stop us, then we get into doubt. Well, we don't have strong belief if we're constantly in doubt. So it's like believe, doubt, believe, doubt. That's exhausting. That's why nothing changes. So we help with the method that we teach is just developing that clarity and that sense of a true identity. Like, this is who I am. If you knew that's who you are and you had all the faith and confidence, you are going to believe it. People are going to feel it. And when they feel it, that's the attraction process. So it's the law of cause and effect at a deep-rooted. We peel it all back, right? Our subconscious is so powerful. If we just thought it and believed it, we literally are our goal. That's why goals are attracted to us. So if we are the goal, we're being the goal. You don't have to find it, you just have to live it.
Yeah. Wow. It makes me think of how people it can happen to them. Their thoughts are, projected on someone else. Like, yeah, I can see that happening, but it's not going to happen to me. It's going to happen to them. Right. It seems like it's a belief, but not tangible belief. I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah.
So how can,
it's belief.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. No, I was going to say it's belief. We all have had successes in life. And what you just shared is so important because a lot of times we look at other people, we think they can do it, we can't.
Mm-hmm.
So we like to help people look at themselves and look at all the successes and wins that they've had in life. We've all have a list of successes we've had. So let's get clear on what they are. So going to journaling, it's important. We have an exercise, a mindset reset, right? Like write down all the successes you've had. And you can start from when you were a kid and just keep looking for those successes because as you look for them, you'll notice them and it helps reinforce how powerful we all are. So if we can help people understand that, okay, you have everything you need, you don't need anything else. Maybe we just need to get clear and believe in ourselves more than we have. You do that, and then with the right support system around you, whether it's friends, family, mentors, coaches, whatever that is around you, it's going to keep reinforcing that until you believe it. When you believe it, you're unstoppable.
Yeah. And it made me think of when you said in the evening, that gratitude, you express that gratitude and how looking at those successes, it's just grateful for your achievements and how gratitude can be so powerful and just helping you progress and see the good.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Did you have another comment, Jacklyn? You seem okay.
Yes. That step that Jamie was talking about, that belief building step, by the way, is the hardest step, I would say, of the entire process.
Yeah.
To build belief in yourself and to be able to recognize limitations and potentially limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Like that simplified process he just explained there is quite a detailed process. And that is the benefit of having someone around you to help you stay accountable to your goals and to help notice those limitations coming up. Something I practice with my clients on the life coaching side for that is definitely journaling. That's a huge go-to to help us get out of our brains and just get it on paper. Even that act alone can help relieve some overwhelm. But looking at how we can reframe situations too. Like, what are my thoughts, feelings, and actions around this situation? How can I write this again based on the ideal outcome that I'm desiring? So that little reframe is going to make a tremendous difference when you feel like you're stuck in a situation. So these are all just steps that you can take towards developing a greater belief and releasing some of those limitations that hold us back. And usually speaking, it is subconsciously.
Yeah. And I think, for some people, it's that desire of taking that time, busy moms or busy dads or whatever. And then just having that deep desire to even take the time out to journal and do those gratitudes. And I think, like you said, having someone to help you to keep you going, and an outside person can see different things that you can't see inside yourself or what's going on. So I think that's valuable there as well. So that's, to me, it seems like the B of your be, do, have movement. So where's the do? Is that the actions, and how does that come into play?
So
Go ahead,
that's the
Jacklyn.
piece that is completely different for everyone depending on their goals. So that's going to be a lot of, okay, what habits can we build during this process? What strategies can we take to get to that business goal that you're working towards? That's a lot of the components that are happening on a quarterly basis. So you want to look at what actions you're taking, what the exact direction is, how you're tracking towards that. That's getting you in motion. So that's the steps that people usually love to talk about at the beginning. And that's why most people skip the mindset piece. So we've done a combination of it's always the being, by the way, even when you're in the doing phase.
Yeah.
So we've just really connected both of those together, and it's components that we work on definitely on 90-day intervals.
Okay. And why 90 days?
Because it gives us a really simple milestone to work towards. So if we're looking at a year, it's every quarter. So it's a great way. It's 3 months in. Is this working? Is this not? We have an opportunity to pivot. We're not too deep into anything yet. We just find it's a really adjustable milestone to work with.
Yeah, it makes it not too scary, it seems like.
Exactly.
Like to even get started.
Yeah.
The other thing I've noticed in that as well is sometimes we set goals in the beginning and intentions. 90 days in, it's not even what we want anymore. So it gives us a chance to let go of things, right? Because as we grow, as we change, as we think different, what you want might change. So if we start with a year in mind, so I like to take the 3 year, get the big goals, dreams out there. Then we put together a plan for a year. Out of that those things you want in 3 years. What can we focus on in the next year? And then we chunk it down to 90 days. So in the next 90 days, what are we going to do? So milestones to keep us in alignment. And then in 90 days, we just reflect back and look, okay, are we still on this path? Has anything changed? And it's always amazing how many times when I'm working with clients where what they thought they wanted isn't even important anymore. There's something bigger and better. And that
Opening
happens
up
because of
there.
growth.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you know that feeling, right? When somebody's eyes just open up and they're like, yeah, I don't even want that. Like, I see this now. And that's why I like to focus on 90 days just to stay in tune to, is this what you still want? Because I feel there's something bigger and better coming.
That's amazing. Yeah. I think just we're opening a new door. Like there's another bigger door in front of us. Like there's continual down the hall kind of thing where there's so many doors to choose from and you don't even know what's on the other side. So I love that. And this
Exactly.
opening for perspective. And so how, with limiting beliefs, I wanted to talk about that a little more. What kind of limiting beliefs do you find often with your clients or that you see people have that they have to get over that are hard or easy? I mean, either way, any limiting belief, I guess, would be hard depending on the person. So
What I think is interesting is no matter the level that someone's at, financially, what they've achieved, or how big they've built their business, how big these massive milestones are in their own life, a lot of the limitations are very similar across the board. A massive one that is very common is just, I'm not good enough. And a lot of times that's going to relate back to something that happened when we were younger, something that we probably don't even find of importance anymore, that we've carried on and is now showing up in our career. It could be our relationships, whatever that area is. That is one of the most common ones that I see showing up. What about you, Jamie?
I deserve the success that I see other people having, and do I feel I deserve it? You know, this deep-rooted sense of I deserve is a big one. I think that transfers into incomes. You know, we have a ceiling of income. So if you want to know what somebody's thoughts are and what they believe they are worth or deserve, look at what they're making. And then there's no judgment to what that is. But if you want more, what's stopping us? So it's not the doing, it's not the steps, right? We can Google all the steps and reasons and how to get there. Yet if we have this deep-rooted limiting belief that you even deserve more, until we can help with that and reframe that, it doesn't matter what you do. A lot of times we self-sabotage things. So that's another example of a limiting belief. So income and time are two big ones that I always see. They expose everything when we can peel them back without judgment. I don't judge any of it. If somebody says they have a goal and they want to do this, like, great, let's go do it. It doesn't matter to me because I have to believe in the goal. If you don't, a lot of times people will express something and then I want them to buy into that before they have time to have that doubt kick in and then sabotage it. So if that's what you want, let's go. We jump right in.
Yeah, that's good. So what's the next steps of someone coming into your program? So you're helping them get over these beliefs and these goals. So at 90 days, if you pivot, do you start back with beliefs again to get to this next level? Is it kind of a continual like up staircase? I don't know the right wording, but you know, you're progressing, but you're coming around again, this cycle.
Definitely depends on the program. The great part with custom coaching is you get whatever you need at that time. So there's definitely an opportunity with that. Our membership and group coaching programs, it's not to say it's always step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. It's starting to, how can you keep up momentum? That's going to be the biggest thing. It's momentum and energy. And that's what we like to focus on, is where do we need more of that? Where do we need, like Jamie was talking about, that excitement? Because a lot of times what happens is, especially if it's someone's with us for a year, halfway through that year, think about it, right? We set goals in January. Most people, like, that's when on average we're told to do that. And by the summertime, most people are like, yeah, well, look at that again. Maybe next year we'll reevaluate. So our job is really to keep that energy up, even when lessons, failures, whatever you want to call it, happens. How do we keep people going in that space?
Yeah,
Shelly, it never ends. We're just constantly reprogramming ourselves, right?
Yeah.
We're constantly doing it. It never ends. So if we understand it never ends, it's not a destination. I heard this years ago by a mentor of mine, shared this. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And it's never ending. it's process, it's progress, right? So we don't achieve it and then what? Like now we're successful because we won the
Right.
prize. It doesn't make sense. But we live in a world it teaches us that's what it is, right? It's about winning the prize.
But it's
So
continual
this journey
progress.
never
Yeah.
ends.
Yeah.
Continual.
Yeah, because it makes me think of what you were saying earlier and how, you know, you get to that 90 days and then a lot of times that first goal wasn't even important to you anymore. You've hit this new level, and yeah, the goal is always going to be something different as we're progressing. I love that expansion. It's so good. And that motivation. So like you saying, you're both saying how sometimes people get kind of unmotivated, or maybe the work is kind of getting a little too tough for them, getting them out of their comfort zone a little more than they want or whatever. So what is some ways that people can deal with that and keep moving towards, you know, the focus that they want to achieve?
Two really strong ones that anyone can do is always having your why. So the reason you're doing what you're doing, and it doesn't have to be super detailed. It's just what's important to you about what you're doing in the first place, and keeping that in front of you. So I actually have that in front of me so that I can go back to that on those hard days. And in addition to that, tapping back into the reason why you started is keeping we call it a win list. So I think Jamie mentioned this earlier, but you want to start acknowledging yourself and being your own cheerleader. So I actually have one in my inbox. I use Notion, a Notion board. So I have entire lists. There's a good day. If a client writes us like a thank you card for something, we get a positive email. Those are all in there. So if you're having a bad day, I'm just going through. And if you're not getting feedback like that from someone, it can even be anytime you've hit a goal, anytime you created a new habit that works for you in your life. Just start tracking the wins and tallying what's working so that you can go back to that on the hard days and keep that momentum going for yourself.
That's good. Jamie, did you have something?
Yeah, just celebrating the wins. I think we live in the gap, right? So often, and I know me, I'm a high achiever, and it's easy to look at all the things that didn't work out well or didn't happen. We live in a world of instant gratification. You don't have to go far to look at social media and see how that can affect us in our thinking. We think everyone else has it figured out, and we don't yet. The reality is, every day, think about what did you do today? As long as you're progressing, you're getting better. One thing every single day, you're thinking different. You helped one person. Focus on those wins and you'll start to notice you're going to feel better. And the minute you feel better, you're changing and shifting your energy, and then you start to see more. And I just got off a call with a client just before this. And one of the things we're helping him do is carve out thinking time. So create space in his life to think. And his goal was 3 times last week, or 3 hours he was going to do it. And he did 1 hour and he was mad. And I said, that's incredible. Think about that. You're 33% of your goal. And he's looking at me really perplexed. And I said, well, how much did you do 2 weeks ago? It's like, none. I said, you're 33%. It's amazing. Right? But as top producers and high performers and just people in general that want to thrive, it's so easy to look at how far we are from what we said we wanted to do. And as we create new habits, it's easier to do it. And we just strive to look at the wins and the gains. That's so important.
Yeah. This has been incredible. I would like you to share about where people can contact you and get a hold of you and learn more from you. I know you have a free quiz. Can you tell them about that?
Absolutely. So to start off, it's betohavemovement.com, our website, and there's a self-discovery quiz. We recommend this to everyone. It's a great place to start to better understand yourself so you know where to go next. With that, you get a free customized report and a boot camp option. So there's a ton of valuable resources just in that alone. So we definitely encourage everyone just to start with that. And then we're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Be To Have Movement.
Awesome. Now, do you have anything you'd like to end with? Any closing remarks before we close? Oh, Jamie, do you want to start?
Absolutely. I would suggest anybody that's listening to this right now, if you were to just close your eyes and imagine that anything in life was possible, what do you want? And don't let any negative thoughts, anything pop in your head. Just live in a space that anything is possible and start to dream. if we could start to dream again and let our imagination come out just like a kid, that is the beginning of creating a life of possibilities. And the goal now is just constantly be living in that space and reaffirming that for yourself. So just start to dream again and imagine and start living the life that you can imagine.
And that actually, I know said closing comments, but that leads me on to a question of, someone closing your eyes and just having that fear of success. Do you deal with that? People want so much, but they're afraid of the success. Do you run into that?
Constantly. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's normal and natural, and that's okay. Keep thinking, what do you want? Stay in that space and just hold that. I think if we can do that for ourselves, and we do a lot on leadership and helping people understand that they are leaders, they have everything they need. So lead yourself. And the first step to do that is hold that space to just imagine. Start with a minute. Start with 30 seconds. Like, it's just little incremental steps along the way. It's the ladder of success, right? So just imagine, start to live in make believe, be like a kid again. And I think we've forgotten that, and we just, somewhere along the way, it's just gotten us off track. So if we just, less is more, take a step back and start to imagine, feel it, the feeling will guide you, and just own it and listen to yourself and lead yourself. The world of possibilities opens up. It's amazing.
Wow, that sounds so good. I love that. Thank you. Jacklyn?
I want to just leave anyone listening with a reminder that you actually can be, do, and have the life that you want. I think we get really caught up in all of our own limitations and what other people think, and it doesn't have to be true. You get to determine what your life looks like. So I just want to hold space for that as well.
This has been so incredible. I love this energy of movement, this be, do, have. I mean, it's all incorporated together, and how just the little steps and the gratitude, it doesn't have to be, like even the 90 days, it's not a huge thing, but your whole life can shift within that amount of time. It's incredible. I appreciate all that you have shared today. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Jamie and Jacklyn, for joining me today on the LivGreater Podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for the opportunity.